The application. Let's dive into the application form beginning on page 3. The application asks for standard personal information, contact information, etc. It also asks for your identity documentation. This is where you'll be required to provide your 10-digit status card number or your Wulanaginu registration number. This program is open to people who have status card and are registered band members to one of the 13 Mi'kmaq communities within Nova Scotia. We recognize that there are people who may not have status cards, but who are considered band members or community members. In 2019, Malugudajig Sagamau implemented a system called Wulanaginu for Mi'kmaq to define who is Mi'kmaq. The Wulanaginu process has now been expanded to include Mi'kmaq. If you do not have a status card, but have ancestral connections to one of the 13 Mi'kmaq communities in Nova Scotia, and you're interested in Mi'kmaq, then please investigate Wulanaginu further at www.mi'kmaqns.ca. Membership Criteria 1. Wedabixin, or Where Are Your Roots? We respect and follow the principles of Wedabixin as directed by our Grand Council elders, leaders, and community members. Wedabixin provides an opportunity for applicants to share information about their family roots and ancestral connection to the community. Our application includes references to the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, Articles 4 and 9, which acknowledge our right to make our own decisions about our communities and to live according to our traditions. These articles reinforce the fact that we have the right to be part of our Mi'kmaq nation or community without facing discrimination, meaning we should be treated fairly and respected for who we are. And so within this section, we invite you to tell us about you and your history. We have included questions to indicate your connection to one of the 13 Nova Scotia Mi'kmaq communities and ancestral families. This section also asks if you have an Indian status, and it asks how you gained Indian status. If status was gained through marriage, please look at page 5 and complete the relevant information. If status was gained through adoption, please complete information on page 5. Please fill out this section carefully. We will treat your information with respect, security, and sensitivity. Membership Criteria 2. Cultural Authenticity. Now let's talk a little bit about cultural authenticity. The second criteria for membership approval. As Mi'kmaq, we have the sovereign right to define and express our culture, a right that empowers us to carry forward the legacy of our ancestors, while embracing the possibilities of the present and the future. Mi'kmaq celebrates this dynamic evolution of our culture, encouraging members to proudly and creatively express their Mi'kmaq identity. Cultural authenticity is the heart and soul of Mi'kmaq. We acknowledge the historic influences that have impacted Mi'kmaq language and cultural knowledge and practices today. At the same time, Mi'kmaq focus is to honor cultural authenticity in creative expression, to celebrate our ancestral heritage while supporting cultural reclamation and continuity, as well as the diversity of experiences and skill sets that exist throughout our communities. Within the authenticity framework, it is important to clearly identify any non-Mi'kmaq elements in your products or experiences. Transparency in cultural offerings is therefore a core expectation of all members. To that end, the toolkit contains a process of self-assessment rooted in your artistic ability, cultural confidence, and creative expressions. This process is a commitment to maintaining the vibrancy and integrity of our culture. Authenticity isn't about purity. It's about clarity. Cultures evolve, and Mi'kmaq today are part of a modern interconnected world. What matters is that the intention and cultural foundation behind your work remains strong and that you are transparent about what is Mi'kmaq, what is blended, and what is borrowed. Mi'kma'widusik requires all members to clearly communicate with consumers about the cultural origins of their products and experiences. This protects both your integrity and the trust of those engaging with your work. By joining Mi'kma'widusik, you affirm your role in preserving and evolving authentic Mi'kmaq culture. Membership Authenticity Guidelines. Mi'kma'widusik is based on the Authentic Mi'kmaq Cultural Tourism Guidelines for Nova Scotia, as developed by the community. Applicants must meet standards taken from these authenticity guidelines to be considered an authentic Mi'kmaq cultural tourism experience, product, or service. The Mi'kma'widusik Membership Authenticity Guidelines are as follows. Your cultural tourism business must be owned, operated, or led by Mi'kmaq individuals or organizations. Developed by Mi'kmaq individuals or organizations. Approved within the Mi'kmaq community. Delivered by Mi'kmaq individuals or organizations. Reflective of Mi'kmaq cultural values, culture, and customs, and does not include any sacred or private ceremonies. We invite you to reflect on these standards as you consider your participation in Mi'kma'widusik. Your commitment to these principles ensures our culture remains a living, thriving force for generations to come. The Authenticity Guidelines are available in 3 different formats. The full 80-page research report, the 10-page community guide, and the 1-page infographic. The Authenticity Guide reports are available at the KMK and Mi'kma'widusik websites. As well, we have included the 1-page infographic on page 10 of the toolkit. Some of the guiding questions that we see on these pages include: how do we know when something is authentically Mi'kmaq? To be authentically Mi'kmaq, it must have originated from the Mi'kmaq. It's what's really ours. We know that our culture has adapted over the years to survive, to thrive, to evolve. And so practices can be authentic even when they're influenced by others. This is why transparency is so important. We must be able to explain what we do and what we share with visitors as part of our culture. What can be shared? Cultural authenticity is really a challenging concept. It is a discussion that we've had in our communities and is part of an ongoing conversation and dialogue. Our guidelines indicate that you can share things that Mi'kmaq generally share publicly, such as community teachings, community knowledge, and community gatherings. Examples of what should not be shared include things that are considered sacred or personal. We must be very careful when it comes to sharing spiritual ceremonies and medicines that are meant to be kept sacred to the Mi'kmaq. The essence of Mi'kmaq cultural authenticity is about respecting, not exploiting. It's about expressing our language, our cultural beliefs, our history, and our stories, and celebrating our diversity.